there is this sort of sweeping change that's happening in New York right now, and it is promising because, as I have said to Jen, I say to you all, the only two people, well, I'll say three. There's three people in the United States who are conducting themselves the way that you need to be politically in this moment. Zohar Mamdani is one, Thomas Massie is two, and
let me guess, Fetterman.
No, the opposite of Fetterman. Shama Sawant is three. And those are the people who are truly standing on principle and doing the things that need to be done because they are recognizing that this is a revolutionary moment. Whereas a person who still thinks that she's cock of the walk and still the person who's in charge of New York politics had this to say on MSDNC over the weekend.
Just a part of what she said. I take your point. Do you still feel, though, if Democrats went back to the House, that Hakeem Jeffries is the right person to lead?
You know, I've engaged in many conversations with Leader Jeffries. And for me, and we have a broad caucus, right? For me, I have...
Word salad. Answer the fucking question, Alex. Answer the question.
This is one of the big, there are many reasons why it is a complete non-starter that she thinks that she's going to be president of the United States, aside from the prospect of even becoming a senator. What you have to remember is a few things here. Number one, she talks like a slimy politician now, like a full-on slimy politician.
If a slimy politician were also a valley girl with an airhead.
That's a whole other story. I was getting
how she talks. That's how she talks.
Well, what I'm saying is that I'm not even addressing her diction, her expression. I'm not talking about that. Okay. That is part of it for sure. I was alluding to that point. But what I'm first saying is that she talks like a politician that is bought by corporate special interests, that has to think about everything that they say because they don't want to step on somebody's toes that, oh my God, I might actually offend this person if I say this. See, that's not acceptable.
But that's the political climate that we have in this country. That's the system that she's working in. So you're expecting, or how can we expect people to behave different than what is expected of the system, in the system that they're working in? You can't. You can't. And the people that do end up losing their seats. That's the point.
So when people are flexing about the fact that she got reelected with an 87%, with 87% of the vote, again, there is no money being put into that race. There is no money.
Won with 87% of the vote. Is there another option for them?
Not in a district that's a plus 35 blue.
Exactly.
What do you expect?
Of course she won. That's like the people that for years would say, oh, Debbie keeps winning. Well, yeah. Yeah, you know how easy it is? Do you know how easy it is to maintain incumbency in a primary in a place with that kind of numbers?
It's gerrymandered to that extent.
It's impossible to unseat these people. So to act like that's some big feat is silly.
And when people get on Trump, just remember both parties are doing it. Do you understand that there is a gentleman's agreement when it comes to these states redrawing the maps to make it more and more impossible to have competitive races? Remember, the whole point of competitive races is so that you can actually hold your representatives accountable. The whole goal is to create districts that have no competition. They do not want competition. They want a career. They want to be in the life. That's more important than actually serving. Serving is a byproduct of just being there. But to suggest that, oh, this person's going places, she cannot hold any position above where she's at because she is never going to be taken seriously by people who actually get it. That's the difference.
She's not going to be taken seriously, period. And I've said it. I will keep saying it. If any office that she's going to run for beyond where she is, that's going to require her to be more seen, more visible, on more, it's going to be the same effect that Kamala had. She will only go down in the polls for a lot of reasons, but primarily she's really not that bright. It's just a fact. So,
that one of my priorities in determining and in a leader determination is securing public housing financing for New York City. And Leader Jeffries has made his prioritization for the residents of public housing very clear. And for that reason, I will be supporting Hakeem Jeffries for leader.
I'm sorry.
Can you name one bill that he has ever allowed to come up for a vote just to get an idea of where people are regarding public housing? Because the last I checked, the only person who has done anything to help with the housing crisis in New York is Zoran Mamdani. He's now put on a rent freeze. And as somebody who invests in multifamily housing, let me tell you, if you are not responding to the needs of the people based on what they can afford and the conditions that they're living
Make
in,
it go away.
expect nothing less. Like, expect nothing less. And when Mamdani comes out and says he's supporting Jeffries for speaker, keep in mind that there is a distinct difference between the two and why he would say that. Now, my belief is the reason why, and I'm not giving Alex any credit for this, but I'll give more on this much. If there is a reason to support Jeffries for speaker, it's because he's in New York, and there is an understanding, if you will, at this point, that they have fortified their positions to such a degree that if Jeffries does not respond to the needs of that particular part of the country, that if he does not answer to the needs and the wants of Mamdani and his coalition that he's built, that Jeffries is next, that he will be primaried in 28. And I do believe he will be. So maybe that's what will happen. I'm not holding out any hope necessarily that that's how it's going to go down, but
AIPAC Shakur, okay, he's not going anywhere. He's just not going anywhere. I don't see him being primaried. I don't see that getting anywhere near that. And I believe the only reason that he's even in the position that he's in is because they know that he's willing to dance like Bojangles, or he wouldn't have been given that position by Nancy Pelosi in the first place. See, they already knew that he was compromised, because if he wasn't, he couldn't have been in that position. So
you won't hear Alex saying anything about this. I mean, to me, when you, and remember, when Jeffries led this march, it wasn't just anybody that was there with him during this march. Smoltrich was there with them. It's no different if Netanyahu or Gavir was marching. Smoltrich may be the least known of the three, but he is just as evil. And for him to have been there and for no one to have said anything regarding that spectacle, that Israel Day, the fact that they have an Israel Day, I don't care if it's New York City. That's insane.
Well, and I have a problem that there's an Israel, okay? But let's say hypothetically, it's a day for any country that is a legitimate thing. I don't care. You want to have, whatever day you want to have Venezuela Day, have Chile Day, who cares? That's not the point. The point is they do it because they're being purposefully hateful. They do it to rile up people. They do it for that, to be incendiary. That's the point. Because there is no other reason why a country would need to have a day in another country.
Sure.
That's why.
So when people say that there isn't this conflation between the two, or that the two are not one and the same, as you've often said, well, the powers that be have shown time and again that they are one and the same. And that is the battle that we have in front of us, is being able to disassemble this relationship. And, last thought before we bring Ida in, you have some very strong thoughts about what you consider to be Zoran's biggest blind spot as the mayor,
Yes.
and that is keeping Tishon as the current police commissioner. And why?
Yes, that's a concern. And no, I don't think it's a blind spot, which is why it's a concern. If it were a blind spot, then that would be a lot more forgiving to me. My concern is that there was some deal made that allows her to keep that position. Now, what that is, does it involve him running for a bigger office? Does it involve, I don't know. But whatever that is, that deal that was made that allows her to stay in that position is concerning to me. And her being in that position is concerning to me because, well, she's a fascist. And so I just generally, I'm an abolitionist and she's a fascist in charge of the thing that I don't think should exist anyway. So yeah, we're not gonna mesh. And the fact that he kept her should be concerning to everybody.